Good afternoon to all the sirs and madams and our chief guest Dr. Y.R. Ramesh Kumar. If you give a poor man a fish, he can survive for the day. If you help him with money, he can survive for the next few days. But if you give him the right skills for fishing, he is by himself for the rest of his life. We all understand that education is the key to unlocking one's full potential. Yet few of us are aware of how the current system of education came to be. India has made a substantial progress in this regard, moving from being one of the nations with lowest levels of education to one with a sizable amount of its students receiving education, and that number keeps going up. To make sure that we are on the same page regarding the roots of education in our country and how it has evolved over a while, let's go back a few thousand years ago. The ancient Indian educational system placed a premium on the formation of a disciplined and a value-based culture. Human qualities such as trust, respect, honesty, dignity, and courtesy were the backbone of the Indian society at that time. No amount of narration could justify the ancient schooling grandeur. Despite its age, it was significantly more advanced than the modern sciences. Regardless, here are a few of the discoveries and facts well established in our ancient education system. The idea of zero, the decimal system, binary numbers and numerical notations, the theory of an atom, rural measurements, and the list goes on. You might be wondering to what occasion I'm speaking on education on today's occasion. It is because today, 11th November, is celebrated as a National Education Day ever since 2008. As to why we celebrate it today, here's the answer. It is the birth date of Abdul Kalam Azad, a man of scholarship, charisma, and humility. Abdul Kalam Azad was one of the finest political leaders that India's freedom struggle was blessed. His birthday, 11th November, is celebrated as National Education Day in India, as he was the first education minister of a newly independent country. Apart from being the head of the Indian National Congress at the time when most of its brass languishing in jail, he was also an influential in guiding the nation's early step as a democracy. He was an erudite scholar and laid the foundations of Indian education system. He was of the premium leaders who realized the potential of the press in terms of mobilizing public opinion and feverishly worked for the same throughout his journal in Urdu. He was versed in several languages like Urdu, Persian, and Arabic, and supported the use of English for imparting higher education. He believed in universal access to primary education, which is free, robust, and welcoming to all, irrespective of gender, social status, wealth, faith, and etc. He wanted to institutionalize compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14, which was realized through the Right of Education Act in 2009. The Act enshrined education as a basic right in the constitution of the country. Azad was also a huge votary of vocational training and technical education, which not only imparts theoretical knowledge but also instills life skills and technical abilities to earn livelihoods and become employable. Maulana Abdul Kalam became the first education minister of the independent India. To his legacy, his birthday, 11th November, is celebrated as the National Education Day himself. Through his leadership, he guided the birth of institutions like the university grants, commissions like IIScs, IITs, and a lot more, were all recognized under his leadership. His most notable achievement in the educational space is the establishment of the first IIT in 1951 and the University Grants Commission in 1953. He knew that such establishments would pave the way of educational excellence. So you might be wondering how is this day very significant? After its independence in 1947, India struggled to completely revamp and stabilize its institutions and sectors. Recognizing that education would be a crucial for national building, the leaders of the country shifted their focus towards education. Abdul Kalam in particular served as a flag bearer for this cause. Speaking in 1948 at All India Education, he highlighted the importance of the birthright of every person to receive the basic education necessary for their well-being without foregoing their duties as a citizen. As a freedom fighter and academician, Abdul Kalam was the best fit for the role of Education Minister for independent India. Illiteracy was a major hurdle for the development of the country, which had already struggled and suffered through years of exploitation before it gained status as a separate nation. Understanding the integral role played by a healthy education system for the development of the country, as a chairman of the Central Advisory Board of Education, Maulana Abdul Kalam was the driving force towards the eradication of illiteracy. He emphasized heavily on elementary education and propagated the expansion of secondary education, especially for girls. But perhaps his largest contribution is to the Indian Institute of Technology. Under his leadership, the first IIT was inaugurated in 1951. Abdul Kalam truly believed in the potential of establishing IITs for the progression of research and technological advancement in India. True enough, today IITs have created a niche for themselves, whether nationally or internationally. IITs are looked as the epitome of educational excellence. It is hence befitting to honor the memory of the man behind India's educational mighty by celebrating his birthday as a National Education Day every year. Now, not taking much of your time, I would like to call the guest speaker on the dais, but before I do call him here, here's a brief introduction about his work. Dr. Y.R. Ramesh Kumar, retired lecturer and head of Department of Computer Science at the Kakatiya University, has around 30 years of experience holding a PhD both in the industry and academia. He has worked at the Singareni Collieries and was for around 6 years and was responsible for computerizing the day-to-day operations in those organizations. He has rendered his services to the Department of Computer Science at Kakatiya University as an academician and was responsible for the development of the university in various aspects. Throughout his career, he has worked at various ranks, such as in charge of Examination Results Processing Center at Kakatiya University, member of NAC Committee, Kakatiya University, member of NBA Committee, Kakatiya University, Head Department of Computer Science, Kakatiya University, coordinator of AU DOST Center, coordinator of CET, Andhra Pradesh. Currently, he is working as a director and the professor at SI University. He is an editorial board member of the Tata McGraw-Hill Publications. He has authored quality manuscripts that are published in various reputed journals. He has offered by SDLCE, published by Kakatiya University. He has delivered several invited talks as a research person in refresher courses by Kakatiya University at various graduate and postgraduate institutions. Now I'd like to call him on the stage. Thank you.
Thank you for introducing me. One point I think I missed on telling Srinivas is that I'm one of the first batch computer science students of India. It was in 1984. By 1984, I was doing my second PG. Actually, I completed my MSc Electronics and then joined for this at NIT Warangal. Today it is NIT Warangal, but earlier it was REC, Regional Engineering College. Anyway, so we basically worked on mainframes and supercomputers. The NIC supercomputers also. So one which is here in Hyderabad, we worked on even that. The earlier system was completely different. Like we were working with punch cards and all that, which you usually read it only as a passing line in your text. Not much of significance is given to that. But still, because we worked on that, one of the major advantages, all the developments that came later, we were witnessing it, we were seeing the benefits of those developments right from introduction of operating systems. When we were students of computer science, there was no operating system. we were using JCLs, job control language. So such was our experience. So it's completely different experience what we have and what you have. We have plenty of tools available, plenty of possibilities to do several things. So it's an apt lecture for me to talk about innovations and all that, because we have seen that. And basically being in the university, obviously my chances of looking at the possibilities of increasing the technical skills for the students was much more. So hopefully in my lecture today now, I would like to give you some points where you can think of what kind of things you can do it when you are presenting that in the form of an innovation. We'll also look at some examples here and there so that we can go further on that. A simple method, okay? The most exciting thing about the innovation process is that it translates an idea into a successful concept, product or service. So there are three things. It need not necessarily be always the product, it could also be a service. How best you can change things in such a way that there is an improvement. Okay? Like for example, because I have dealt most of my life with the students, let me tell you about the difference between the students maybe 10 years or 15 years back to the students today. The students today want everything pre-cooked. It should be instantly available, including the knowledge. Is that right? And our system has not changed. The system went on deteriorating to such an extent where today's student feels that he spends about 10 days or 1 week before the examinations, he can pass the exam. Is it not? Don't you feel that? Is it true or not? To some extent. Don't you agree? 10 days are enough for preparing ourselves for the examination. So what about the remaining days? Just come to the college, enjoy the days. Isn't it? In this process, what we miss is that we are missing the technical skill. The skill that is needed to be developed. I don't blame only the students for this particular scenario. I also blame the teachers who teach. Because when I look at a student of BTech Computer Science, I expect that the student should have a knowledge about everything associated with the computers. But how many of you have seen the internal parts of the computer? Can you raise your hands? How many of you have seen the parts? Seen? No? To some extent at least, you have seen. But as a subject we teach that. Computer organization, architecture and all that. How many of you can load operating system on your own? For your laptops or your whatever you have? Can you do it? Yeah. I am questioning something which is different, isn't it? Nobody has asked you whether it's done, whether it can be done for you or not. Not only you, even my students at that place where I teach, they too don't know. Because our system has come to that extent where a skill development was completely missed. Not only here, I am telling you, even in IITs, okay, when I was talking to one of the IIT student, he was asking me, why uncle they teach entrepreneurship to us? There's nothing to do with entrepreneurship. I said, you are the people who are supposed to come with a product. You are given education so that your idea, any particular idea, can be converted into some particular product. So what is the process? How exactly we need to do that? And for that, they teach you this. And he told me, we don't need one semester classes for it. We just need 2 classes for that. Because we need to pass the exam. Isn't it? That is the kind of mindset the students have come to. But the purpose of education is not just to go and serve somebody. It's not to go and work for somebody. You have to enjoy doing what you do. If you don't enjoy, by the end of your education, doing something, then this entire time you are spending here will be a waste. Well, every day it appears that why is that I am working here? I was in the industry, but I love teaching. So I left my lucrative job, which was paying very good amount to me, but I came to university. No regrets, because I enjoy teaching. Similarly, when you go into the industry, when you do something, when you enjoy doing it, the productivity will be much more. Because you are working to your potential when you enjoy doing something. If you are not enjoying doing something, then you don't work to your potential. When you don't work to your potential, obviously whatever you do will be bad. It won't be good enough. Obviously you need to have such type of thinking. To do that, you need to have the skills. Okay? Unless you have a skill, any idea, any of your ideas cannot be converted into anything. When you look at the idea may be a simple one. It appears, if you go and talk to your friend, you may say, that is idiotic, somebody might have already done, or something is already done on that particular area and all that. He himself also doesn't know whether that particular idea really is worth doing something. Like for example, I tell you, most of the times you share your notes, and if you are a junior, you would expect the senior notes to be available somewhere and all that. But every time what to do? You go to the Google, search for it, take somebody's notes and download it, do it, whatever you want. Then a simple project could be taken up. Like you can develop a site, a website, where every student will put some notes into it, somebody else may add something to it, okay? Make the notes much more better. Maybe about 5 years down the line, you have the best site there available. Maybe you can even commercialize it later end for somebody else who is not belonging to your college group. Simple idea. You may say, what is there in it? Plenty of things are there in it. if I have to convert that particular idea into a product, I need to know the technology. Whether I am using this particular product or converting that particular product into a web-based application, is it going to be a mobile application? What kind of application it would be? And based on that particular application, what are the technologies that are available? You need to know about them. How many of you know what are the different technologies that are available? You may be using it, but many of you do not know what technologies they are. Microsoft, plenty of technologies are there. All technologies right from the databases to the web-based application development, even mobile-based application development. You have plenty of tools that are available. Oracle, basically for databases, but they have developed all types of tools through which you can develop a web-based application or a mobile-based application. Then the question is, if I call myself as a computer science engineer, do I know these technologies? If we are not, obviously we are cheating ourselves. Calling ourselves as an engineer but don't know many of the things in it. Isn't it? Right? So this technical skill is what is needed in order to convert any given particular idea, that is innovation idea, into a product. Then what is the process in this particular idea? Begins with the search for innovation potential through brainstorming. One of the mechanisms usually used in many of the companies, IT-based companies, okay? But most of the colleges do not do that. In the colleges, what happens is, if we are friends, 4 or 5 people are friends, we talk about some particular topic or a subject, okay? Then further, it doesn't go anywhere, but just to discuss anything, maximum we think of discussing only about that. Because most of the times we talk about movies and other things, right? Do we talk about any idea? Any particular idea? That's what I said. A simple idea of sharing our notes with others, having all our seniors or juniors to share the particular knowledge. You can have a simple website. So brainstorming is needed. You need to sit, think what could be the idea which can be converted into a particular product or a service or a particular method, process. Creativity, the techniques are basically creativity techniques and design thinking techniques. Creativity techniques need skill. You need to have skill. Like for example, let us say your college bus, everybody or most of the students use the college bus. We parents think that okay, my child has boarded the college bus, therefore he is going to attend all the classes. What is the guarantee that the student has reached the college? For the parent? No guarantee. Unless and until the college has some kind of attendance mechanism and a SMS alert to the parent informing that your child has not attended so-and-so class on a particular hour and all that. There's no way you can identify it. So you can think of what could be the mechanism through which, as I board the bus, can I have some kind of mechanism where the parents know that I am in the bus? When I get down, the parent knows that I am in the college. And then on whatever the whether we attend the classes and all that. So when we talk about a idea, this particular idea, if I want to convert into something, I need to have some kind of technical knowledge there. Okay, what kind of technical knowledge? Probably I have a given particular product where all the students who board into that particular bus, pictures are available. As he gets into the bus, he will press his photo on that, giving an attendance or something like that, wherein the attendance of or your entering into the bus will be notified to the parent as well as to the college that these are the students who are coming. Plenty of other advantages associated with that. If I know in advance how many students are going to be there in my class in advance, I can plan things. On a given particular day, not many students are coming. Then the teacher can plan something different. Instead of teaching something wherein the majority of the students lose a particular topic, I can think of something else. Engage the students in a different way. Plan it in a proper way. So a simple idea can give you a mechanism of thinking about a particular product. Like that, plenty you can think of. You may be having much more better ideas than me, where several things can be converted into the product. Then design thinking technique. Design thinking technique is something which is already available, product is available. Okay. How best I can redesign that so that the things become easier for us. Like for example, attendance system. Okay. What kind of attendance system can be implemented to a student in a classroom where every class his attendance should be marked automatically without teacher wasting his time? System is already available in several other methods. Biometric is there, or automatically the student may have an RFID through which as he enters, there are colleges where they are using RFID mechanism. When student as he enters into the class, his attendance is marked. So like that there are several different methods, but each method has its own default problems. Okay. Now the design thinking is in terms of how best I can convert this into a better product. Product is available. Associated with that, there may be certain problems. Now, can we change the design of this particular system so that the product can become better? So most of the times it is interdisciplinary. Okay? And different perspectives of several people will be involved, because when you are thinking of such type of a product. Okay? Then the second step is the concept of advocacy. Okay? Advocacy involves extensive analysis to gather as much information as possible. So you need to talk about them, talk about your particular idea. Okay? And get the information about it. Several people may have different ideas. The same idea, if each person's perspective may be completely different. Okay? The perspective of looking at that may be completely different. It helps to evaluate the feasibility of a business idea, whether that particular idea is feasible or not, whether that can be converted into a product or not. That will come out. Okay, if you advocate that your idea is this, talk to many people, mostly the people who have some experience in that particular technical side. Okay, when they express their ideas, you will know exactly whether your idea is worthwhile to pursue or not. Then experimentation, you experiment that. Experimentation phase tests the suitability or sustainability of idea generated. So take that particular idea and try to experiment with that idea. Okay? Like renewable energies. Plenty of ideas are coming nowadays. If you go through the Google, you will find so many ideas. Okay? Unless and until it is experimented, you do not know whether it is really feasible or not. Like, once I thought while we are walking on the pavement, why not we have some kind of mechanism there, the steps, so that as you walk on them, there may be some small turbines which move on below that, and energy can be produced. Like that, you can think of several other things. I gave this idea to one of the engineering students. To my surprise, he has come out with a solution, a simple project. And for one of the students, I said, there are plenty of garbage created in the college itself. Lot of paper. Tear the paper and throw it away. I said, why can't that be burned in such a way that it generates energy? So a small boiler was created. They took this particular garbage, basically the paper garbage, not the other garbage, okay? They burnt it and created about sufficient energy so that they could illuminate about 4 or 5 LCD bulbs. It was an experiment which was made. It has every idea has its own negative effect also. Like for example, if I am burning the paper, how much smoke comes out? Is it not? I will be polluting the atmosphere. So how best it can be curtailed? What are the methods? So one person cannot have the ideas on all these. So if you have an idea, you need to share that particular idea with many people so that each one will give you the positivities and negativities of that particular idea, so that you can think of converting that or using that particular idea in a proper way. Okay? And new idea generation with the ideas gathered on the feasibility and results of the original idea. Okay? What best mechanism when you do this particular kind of advocacy, experimentation with whatever people talk about or whatever changes they suggest to your idea, okay, the best possible product can be produced. Okay, that is at the concept level. Okay, then once the concept is clear for you, you have an idea is converted into a concept by sharing that particular idea with several people. Okay, then the solution. What kind of solution we can think of? The solution aims to develop a worthwhile and ready to use solution that can be brought to the market. A product you are trying to develop. Okay, the product may fail because of several things. One of the mechanism is when you are conceptualize the idea into a product, your conceptualization is not proper. You have not shared your idea with several people so that the people can add on something more to your idea. Okay, so that this particular concept can be converted into a proper product. Okay. Then solutions are developed, prototyped, and tests are carried out. Most of the times it is to the prototypes the tests are carried out. Okay. Once the prototypes are successful, they get converted into the appropriate product. Then in addition to the concept and lab tests, the tests also include market tests. Okay, if it is a proper product and you are going into the market with that particular product, then obviously market tests also have to be done. How best your product is going to be accepted in the market, that is also important. You might have come out with a particular product and thinking that yes, this is one particular product which I can use it, but at a later end you may come to know that that particular product is not saleable. If the salability is not there, obviously your product fails. Okay? If you want the product to be successful, market has to accept it. So the salability should be there. Like for example, your salability. Okay, you as a product, if you have to be successful, obviously your salability should be high. When you are saleable, when you have good technical skills, that's what usually the companies test you, whether you are good enough. But it is so unfortunate that most of the times people test you only on the coding, but there are several areas where plenty of things are available. Quite a lot of things have to be done. But recently, as AICTE has come out with ideas of having computer science with data science as a specialization, machine learning as a specialization, AI as a specialization, and all that. People have not yet explored what are the possibilities of these areas in the form of products, and even educational institutes are also not yet ready in terms of preparing to what extent the person has to be good at these particular subjects. In the near future, maybe within another 3 or 4 years, people will know what are the things that are needed there and how exactly we can do the things in these particular areas and all that. Then once the solution reaches a maturity level, okay, maturity level is in terms of a given particular concept is being experimented, certain changes are suggested, you make those changes, further experiment with that particular product, it goes on. Okay, it happens whenever I am talking about a product. Don't think that the product is something physical I am talking about. No, even the software product is also a product. So if you have come out with particular software, that as a product, okay, how mature that particular product is, how you can think of the maturity of the software product. It is in terms of how best your data, whatever data you are looking at, like for example, as I told you, you may have not looked into the computer internal parts or operating system you have not loaded, networking, how exactly it has to be done, you have not done it. Similarly, probably even databases, we learn about the databases, but most of the times we don't know why we are learning normalization. I don't know whether they have learned databases, they don't know. Okay, so when you learn the databases, you will come to know one particular major concept in the database known as normalization. And many a times, I don't know whether student wonders it or not, but I always think from the student's point of view, why exactly we are learning normalization? Am I using this particular normalization directly in the industry? And many a times it so happens that what you learn in your course as a part of the course is not directly applicable. They are indirectly applicable. Okay? Indirectly in the sense, normalization, like for example in the database, normalization gives an idea about how your database has to be. It only talks about the concepts, how your data has to be represented. But when you actually represent in your product, you won't be testing the normalization principles there. you will be always looking at how best I can save the memory, how best I can access this particular data faster. So things completely change. But without your knowledge, actually in those concepts you will be applying the normalization principle. Okay, when you learn about the normalization, you ask for, the teachers will be able to tell you about exactly how it is being used in the product form. Okay, so when we look at the solution, the concepts which you look at in terms of maturing that particular concept, an idea being converted into a concept, and that concept being experimented and trying to find a solution. That has to go to the maturity level. Until that time, your product is not ready directly. Okay? Then commercialization and marketing, that is the next step. So you can see here a simple idea being, that is a simple concept or an idea being converted into a particular concept in terms of having that converted into a particular product, and then that particular product being actually made into a solution to a particular problem. That is basically what we look at. But when it is supposed to be converted into a marketable product, because this particular lecture also talks about the startups, where a particular startup comes with a particular product idea, and obviously when product is made with all the amount you have spent and in terms of money and time, naturally you need your product to be successful. Okay, so that's where we look at the commercialization of your product and marketing of that particular product. Both are needed. For any particular startup, these things are needed. So unless and until you properly market it, okay, you are not successful as far as the product is concerned. And the commercialization step, developers market value for an idea, product or service by focusing on its impact. What is the impact of your particular product? What do we mean by impact of the product? How important it is for somebody who wants to use it. Okay? When the idea of cell phones have come in 1980s, and I don't know whether you know it or not, in the entire world, we are the last people to adopt the technology. Indians are the last people to adopt the technology. India has always looked for the value of money. Okay, we always try to look at whether it is really worth it or not. That's what we mean by impact. Whether that particular product is going to really make an impact in our life or not. Only if it is going to make an impact, then we spend on it. Otherwise we don't bother to. Because there are so many other products which have come. Most of the people do not use it. Okay? Like palm tops and your tablet, PCs, so many things. All these have not become as successful as your mobiles and your laptops. They probably give the same services even there, but the impact of those products was not much on us. Okay, so when we look for a particular product to be commercialized, we need to look at how it is going to impact our life. An important aspect of this step is to establish the given idea, product or service specifications. Okay, what are the specifications to make an impact? Like for example, for Indians, it is the cost of any particular product. If the cost of the product is too high, we don't bother to buy it most of the times. Like for example, in 2000s, one of the major talk in the market was on home theaters. Okay, you go to any electronic shop in those days, they were always ready to sell you a home theater. But this particular home theater concept has not impacted much in the lives of Indians. And today, many people do not have that. You'd like to watch on a movie on a TV rather than in a movie theater, right? Why? Simple, our comfort, cost, several other things. That's what we mean by how exactly it is impacting us. So when I release a particular product, the question is how important that particular product is for somebody. Is it really going to impact him? Okay? If it doesn't do it, then nobody will talk about that particular product. Okay? And slowly the product goes away. Disappears completely from that particular market. You don't have anything to sell. So the commercialization stage involves bringing the product to potential customers. Who are the customers? Who are the users who are going to use my product? Okay? That has to be realized fast. Unless your product is more widely used, okay, your customer size is too large, your product is not going to be successful. So when you conceptualize the idea, you also have to keep in mind what exactly we are trying to develop, how important it is for the people or the future customers, how exactly it is going to impact them in their life. All these are very important. Then once that is done, you need to develop a marketing strategy to keep the product available to the customer. It also has to be available. If it is not available, people stop using it. Okay? That's the reason why in India most of the times the products come with cheaper rate so that they are available more to the users. Okay? That's the reason why Chinese products have become very popular in India, because they are cheaper for us. Okay? It's a different aspect why the Chinese products are cheaper and all that. Some other time, or you can try to find out why it is cheaper and why the other products are more costlier and all that. Then the next step is diffusion and implementation. Diffusion is the spread and acceptance of the company's innovation idea. Our idea should be acceptable to the people. Okay? What do? What do the companies do? If they have to bring out a product into the market, they advertise, right? What they do is simply they advertise. They advertise in such a way that you tend to think that without that your life is a waste. To that extent they have to bring. It should become a part and parcel of your life. Okay, they connect the product to your daily usage. Okay, that's what we mean by diffusing the idea. Okay, people who want to buy it, has to realize that without this particular product, probably I may go back. I need this particular product in my life. The diffusion and implementation steps allows the organization to determine the next step of customer needs, benchmarks, indicators for success metrics. Okay, these three things basically are what is the byproduct of your diffusion. What is that? Customer needs. So there are advertisements, people will look at, probably if this particular product is little more like this. So they may ask you a feedback in terms of whether you like it, if you don't like it, in what way you don't like it, and all those things. So what they are doing, the basic customization which we have looked at in terms of the second step, the idea being customizing. Okay? In many of the big organizations, what they do is, if the idea is a simple idea and the product cost is not going to be much, they don't bother to customize in the beginning. They bring out the product. Then later on, they diffuse that particular product into the market in such a way that people will start thinking of using it. Okay? So their strategies are completely different. But if we are looking at a startup, and our startup is going to have the idea converted into a customized product, obviously this particular diffusion takes an important role. Then receiving feedback enables the organization to stimulate the innovation process further and make the product better. Feedback mechanism is implemented. Okay? So what we do is basically convert that particular idea into a particular product directly, release that, try to make the user use it, take the feedback from it, any changes that we need to make it, we make it and do it. Just so there are here two things. I talked about the innovation process management. Now, if we are talking about innovation management process, innovation management is being properly processed. Okay, what is that? It is a systematic approach for generating, prioritizing, evaluating, and validating new ideas and putting them into practice. This is more applicable to your startup mechanism. What you are doing here? You are generating an idea, prioritizing the idea, evaluating the idea, okay, and validating that idea. All these things have to be done before you can think of a particular startup with that particular product. Okay? You need to generate the idea. You have an idea, you have to convert that into a proper form. You have to give a proper form to that. Then try to prioritize it. How best you can convert that into something which plays an important role in that particular area of technology. Then evaluate it. You need to evaluate that further. Then validate. Validate whether it is a proper idea or not, how best this your idea could be and all that. Then in most of the times you have to remember that innovation is only as successful as its process. If the process is not good enough, your innovation is lost. Okay? Unless and until you apply these processing steps in a proper order to any of your ideas, okay, innovation doesn't have any value once you come out of with a particular product. So it is as successful as its process. So when we say its process, though we have represented some steps there with the innovation process management mechanism, not necessary that every product comes with the same kind of steps. It's a question of any particular idea having its own mechanism of converting that into a product. They are all broad methods which we look at. Okay? And without a solid strategy behind one, it's difficult to avoid frustration and chaos. So choosing the right innovation management process is mandatory for the successful innovation process. So when we are saying that right innovation process management or innovation management process, obviously there are different techniques that are adopted or different management techniques that are being adopted in this kind of innovation. Because each product is completely different. Okay, products, processes, services, all these. Each one is completely different. A well-structured innovation management process guides you through the whole innovation process. It helps you to make better, well-informed decisions, enhance your efficiency, remove the bottlenecks, reduce risks, and simplify the complex process. So if you have not chosen your process properly, all this will be missing. Okay, a proper management process which you choose it for your particular idea to be converted into a product is very important. Next one. So these are the common innovation management processes: push versus pull, lean startup model, phase gate process. These are the three different techniques I have taken, but there are several other techniques that are available. Push and pull is basically a technology push. Models are the approaches where products and services are at the core of the innovation process. Okay? Your innovation is basically concentrated on the product development or service development. If services development or the product development is the core, then you look for this particular process management technique known as technology push. Okay, and the market pull models are driven by external market forces and are designed to meet market demands. So that pull factor is in terms of market, how exactly your the market is going to appreciate your product. So the push and pull is basically in terms of applying your idea or converting your idea into a product by applying the technology, and the market trying to pull your product down if your technology application is not proper. So unless and until your product development associates with your technical skills, okay, the pull factor will be more. Okay, that means the product will be disappearing from the market within a short time. So associated with that, what is the kind of process management that you have to apply so that your product is successful? Usually applied for product development and also the services development. Then lean startup model is focuses on finding customer needs and promoting speed and urgency in ideas such to avoid spending too much on marketing strategies that do not target customer needs. Needs of the users usually change. They go on change. So when you get an idea associated with a customer need, you implement it immediately without much bothering about whether your idea is good enough for the product or not. What is the basic concept here? You want to encash your idea as early as possible before somebody comes with a better idea. Point clear? So if you have an idea in terms of providing some service to the customers, apply it immediately without bothering about whether the market accepts it or not, because anyway within no time somebody else will come out with a better idea, because it is only an idea. So somebody may sharpen that, because if it is a product, developing a better product from your product will take time. But if it is only a service idea which you are implementing, okay, for example, like your food supply chain, what is that, Swiggy and yeah, you can see that how many, probably in Hyderabad there are at least 100 other people have started with the same idea, because it is only an idea. Okay, I am not preparing the food, somebody else is preparing the food. I am only taking that food and supplying to the customer. That's what is being done. So this idea, how best I can do it? Somebody comes with a new idea, a better idea, he will immediately apply that. Okay? These kind of ideas being converted into the product based usually comes into lean startup model. Okay? That is lean in the sense, startup, to start with you don't take much time. You have an idea, implement it as early as possible. Then phase gate process. The phase gate process is the best process for product innovation. Okay, most of the research is basically applied on the product using this particular model. What is done? It is implemented by companies of all sizes and falls under the technology push model. What you are doing is you are implementing or you are bettering a particular product, applying most of the technology. Okay, the better technology probably. Because as the time process passes on, the technological innovations come in, and you have better product development possibilities. So usually what we do is we implement that particular idea so that everybody can, or the product that as it comes out with the implementation of technology will be much better. Okay. So that is about the ideas being converted into innovative products. Then about the startups. Most of the times, plenty of startups are there, even in Hyderabad. The government also claims that there are about 5,000 to about 10,000 startup companies are there. But as on, among these 5 to 10,000 startup companies, hardly about 10 to 15 companies have come out with the product. So there is somewhere they are missing this particular process. Okay. So to have a startup, if I have to start a particular startup, what are the things that are needed? Any particular startup should have a great idea. You need to have a good idea which can be converted into a particular product. Then you need to make a business plan, a proper plan. Okay, business plan in the sense, how much funding is needed, who are your customers, what are the sales figures you will have, how much product you can sell, how much money you can make, when you will be coming to the break even. Okay, all these things you have to make a plan. Then secure funding for your startup. Then after that you need to go and get the funding. Most of the times these startup companies get the funding from the friends. Okay. What happens with the funding from the friends? If the idea doesn't go on into the product level as planned, what happens is your money is stuck up. As I told you, there are about 10,000 startup companies which we have, but hardly about 15 companies have come out with the product. So what about the other companies? They are going on. Their money is stuck up, so they can neither they close their company and come out because the money is already spent. Their time is being wasted. Okay, all these are the things which happen at a later end. Okay, so unless you have a proper plan and secure funding, okay, for your startup, secure funding, most probably you can go to the banking. What happens by taking the funding from the banking is that banking people will scrutinize your idea thoroughly. Unlike your friends may not scrutinize your idea of a startup thoroughly. Banking people will scrutinize it. What happens? They look at whether your product is going to make some impact or not. All these things they will look at. Only when they are convinced that your product is going to make an impact, only then they will fund it. So it's better to go to the banking for funding rather than getting the funds from the friends. Though the friends are available to give the funding, okay, it is always better to go for a proper funding agencies so that they will scrutinize your idea in a proper way, scientific way. Then surround yourself with the right people, right-minded people. Okay? If one of your friend is always looking for profits to be gained as early as possible, then you will be always stressed upon to release a particular product. Even if the product you know in advance that your product has not yet made proper impact, you are not given your concepts properly, you are not thought of in a proper way about your idea. Okay, so several such type of things occur. Then make sure you are following all the legal steps. Legality also has to be checked up when you do with the startups. Basically, startups supported by the government agencies will have these legal framework within which you are supposed to start it. Okay. Establish a location, the physical location. Developing a marketing plan. Build a customer base for your particular product. All these are the basic things that are needed for developing or starting a particular startup. As I look at you people, I don't know whether the idea of innovation is really appealing to you or not. Is innovation something that you can think of, or you think that it is not our plate of things? What do you say? Is innovation possible with you? A particular idea you can make into a particular product based thing. That's the reason why the topic itself is but surprisingly, I came to know that on this particular day, on this particular occasion, whoever is conducting the seminars and workshops, and 90% of the people have chosen only this particular topic, the innovation and the startups. Because that is the need of the hour today. As I told you, India is not the place where we invent something. Though we know As our friend has said, we have also invented zero. Great idea. But later on, what we have done? Nothing. As you read in your computer science, it is a science which is very young, started only in 1950s, hardly about 70 years. But do you know, India has implemented only in 1980s. In India, in 1978, we brought Russian supercomputers for weather forecasting. You can imagine. We didn't brought it for any number crunching or anything. We brought it only to use it for forecasting the weather. The first usage. And to service these computers, Russians used to come. India is paying huge amount for these Russians to do the service for these computers. Then IIT Bombay has thought, why not we train our people in this particular area so that they can do the servicing. So initially, some people were trained by IIT Madras, but later on, Annamalai University has started in 1979, 78, 79, they started some certificate courses, the computer science courses. Those are the first computer science courses in India. It was possible basically because IIT Kharagpur has started MTech computer science at that time. 1978-79, IIT Kharagpur has started MTech computer science. There was no BTech computer science. Only in 1984 they started. 1982 IITs have started, and then later on in 1983 RECs have started because there was no NITs at that time. Our RECs have been converted into NITs later on. So you can imagine where we are. We didn't have even computer education at the time when European countries were using desktops. But today, fortunately for us, any new market in the IT industry is released in India to test the durability. Because anything that is given, we use it thoroughly. In all aspects, we try to use it. So we have grown very fast in that particular aspect. But the thing is, unfortunate thing is, we are unable to produce the products. And that's the reason why all governments, central, state and other governments are worried about this particular thing to be developed in the educational institutions. So it may appear to be something which is of not much use to you, but remember this is going to play a very major role because coding is automized slowly. Maybe within another 10 years, no coding people is needed in the industry. Computer science people are not needed in industry within a short period of 10 years. I'm not joking. I'm telling you very seriously. So where exactly we are useful? You have to think of. They are useful only in other aspects like data science, machine learning. These are the things where mathematical implementation is much more needed there. Because engineering, in all engineering branches, when you look at, I always strongly believe, and I also tell others that computer science is the most easiest one. When compared to the other branches, computer science is the most easiest one. But unfortunately, what is happening is the cream of the youth is going into the computer science, which is basically easier one, and the harder things are basically taken by the other people. But the scene is going to be reversed within a short period of 10 years. So be sure where you stand, what exactly you learn. I suggest that you need to understand about the technologies. As I talked about, Microsoft has developed all technologies, so you need to know what are all the tools that are available with them. Oracle, what are all the tools that are available? How it is to be used. So unless and until you are aware of these, I don't think this particular lecture will be of use to you. So if you have anything to ask me, you can ask. Anyone wants to ask me anything? As usual, like any class, we don't have any questions to ask. Do we have any questions to ask in the class?
Anyone wants to ask, please? Okay, on behalf of my students, I am going to ask you one question now. So, where can our students go for funding if they want? Any government agencies are there?
Yeah, there are several there is something known as venture capital investment people who usually finance any particular idea. They don't need a product. You need to go with an idea, you have to convince them. We have these venture capital mechanism even in India also. There are plenty of companies that are available. You simply have to sell your idea, that's all. They will put the money, you don't have to bother about. But only thing is, they will be the major stakeholders. Except that you can convert your idea into a product, always.
So do you think product-based startups will be doing better than service-based? Like if they will be doing better than Zomato or Swiggy?
Most of the, as I told you just now, we are basically in India, not only in India, even in China, we are copycats. We always copy somebody's idea and try to come with a particular product, whether it is a product or a service or anything. Okay? Now when you are copying anything, obviously, what is the value of that particular product? So whether we are going to be successful or not, like as I told you, Zomato and all those people are successful. Not only them, even there are about 100 other odd people who are doing similar service in Hyderabad. They are making good money without any problem. So your idea when you think you have to come with a particular product, is a question of trying to experiment at this particular age. Why we are having these kind of lectures in the colleges is that at this particular age when you start experimenting with your small ideas, later on when you have the maturity of the industry, when you have seen several areas of the industry, like you do not know ABCDs of industry as far as I know. Not only you, I don't know, you are only second year and third year students, right? Even the first year student, not only the first year student, even MTech students I have seen, they don't have any idea about how the industry works and what exactly they basically do. In India, we have most of the industry, IT industry is in service sector, not in the product development sector. We don't have. But there are people very at a lower level who develop products. They have not gone to in a big way. Like for example, Tally software. Do you have any idea about Tally? Tally is the software which is meant for accounting. And this particular Tally product is developed by TCS. And I can proudly say that this particular product was one of the project work taken up by my classmate with the TCS actually. Then they converted that idea into the product. And Tally has become so successful, even today, people are using it. Similarly, if you look at the banking sector, banks use the software, which is a product. But in the banking sector, there are not less than 20 to 30 different companies who have come out with the product. Okay? First, it has come out with Infosys has come out with the banking product. Later on, TCS has come, every other person has come with the product. Because each person's need is completely different in the banking sector. But fortunately, when Tally was developed, they looked at the generalized utility of that particular software. So they basically looked at how the accounting is done, and associated with that particular accounting, we have developed that particular product. Similarly, if you look at the chit funds, there are so many companies who develop software for the chit funds. And these companies are not big time people. They are very small. Okay, most of the time I find these people to be MSc computer science students or MCA students, not even BTech students. There is a potentiality. Plenty of things can be done. But most of the times what is happening is the BTech student always looks for a job in the company. You don't look at developing some particular product. That's the problem. And that's the reason why these kind of lectures are going on not only in your college, in several other colleges simultaneously, or maybe planned for about 1 or 2 months period of time. Anything? Once the privatization is done, you can see here today where we are. We don't have the government schools at all. If I ask you, do you know where exactly your government school is in your area? You don't know. Is it not? Do you know? You don't know. Because slowly even government is going to privatize everything. Okay? Maybe within another, as I told you, 10-15 years down the line, you have all services privatized. Okay? So you need a lot of products there. If you want automation to be implemented, you need a lot of products. That's what we need to look at. Plenty of possibilities are there. Any new idea, any idea you can convert it into a product. So if you think that your idea is not worth it, you are not looking at the idea properly. It's as simple as. Any small idea can be converted. I gave you so many examples. You can think of, you can, day to day you get so many ideas. Every idea can be converted. The question of thinking with others, like-minded people, somebody encouraging it. Basic thing is you need to have that technical skill, that technical knowledge about what is applicable for you. What technology I can use it there. Several products you can come out. Mostly, if you tie up yourself with ECE people, you can come out plenty of things. Because in today's software industry, you have for any given particular device, you have the device drivers available. You don't have to break your head in order to use it. If a sensor is there, how to use the sensor in a particular program, you don't have to break your head. Go and talk to the people who are selling it, they will give you all the details. It may be, at the most, it may be in assembly code you have to write the program. At the most, you have to do that. At the highest level, maybe you have several other, maybe it's a Java product, okay, or maybe even a Python project. If it is a Python product, obviously associated with that, you have the device drivers and associated commands available, simply use that. It has become so simple. But still, in India, especially in engineering colleges, students are not coming out to do that kind of experimentation. Basically because this particular product will cost you something. If you buy a sensor will cost you about 2,000 rupees. Now, how do you use it? You have to spend some time. Your idea, converting that idea and along with this particular technology into a proper product. That is what is important. When you do it in a small way, 2 or 3 products, you are the master in that industry. People will look at as somebody who is looking at product-based thinking rather than giving service-oriented. Service-oriented at one level or other level becomes obsolete. How many days do you think this Swiggy or all these companies are going to last? They won't. Yes, somebody nearby your home will tell you, why do you go all the way to the Swiggy and all that? You don't spend that much money, I will give you. You give me, you tell me what you want, I will prepare and give you. Then you will think, yes, probably that fellow is getting it from some hotel where it's not neat or many things affects your health and all that. Somebody who is nearby and is ready to give me, I know exactly how he prepares and all. I'll buy. So service-oriented things will not last for many days. Product-oriented things will always last. So you have to experiment with small things. You have some, you can pull up some 10,000 rupees among yourself with the friends like-minded. Think of, Google it, search it, what you can productize. Go to the market, find the devices, find out whether you can implement it using some particular software, how to do it, learn it, do it. It definitely takes some time. You need to spend your time. That's what I was telling you. You are tuned in such a way that you always want ready-made solutions. Ready-made solutions will not be available.
Anything else?
Most of the parents will ask to do job.